Hey traders, welcome to Master the Market, where we help you become a market master. Happy 2025. I hope everyone was able to start off the year on a profitable note. Today I locked in $2,550 in profits with one single trade in the stock CRNC. So stay tuned and watch this video all the way through because I'm going to be breaking down this trade and talking about the strategy that I used to lock in this profit step by step. For those of you that are already familiar with this strategy, the opening range breakout strategy, it's still going to be crucial to stay tuned here because we're going to be breaking down why this was a better setup than other gap ups might be for the opening range breakout and why this had such great potential. And at the end of the day, these are going to be the reasons why I decided to take this trade and was able to lock in a $2,550 profit in doing so. All that being said, like we do every single day here in the Market Master group, we had a list of the top 5 gap and go candidates posted at the market open, along with their opening range breakout levels. We can see that CRNC was one of these stocks with an opening range breakout level of $11.76. Now, why is $11.76 the breakout level, and why is that an area where we would look to buy if the stock is able to move through? The simple explanation for this, and the reason that I love this strategy so much, is because it's simply going to be the high of that first 5-minute candlestick. Now you can technically use this with any different opening range on any time frame. So this might be, the high of the first 1 minute, the first 2 minutes, again, the first 5 minutes, maybe even the first 15 minutes, whatever it may be. That is what you're going to use for your opening range breakout level. I personally tend to stick to the 5-minute time frame the most with this strategy because that is what has worked for me. But again, this is pretty much up to your decision and it's going to be up to your preference. So the high here of this first 5-minute candlestick is going to be that $11.76 price. So if we go ahead and just draw that line right at about that high, that is going to be our breakout level. And the way that this strategy works is that we're then going to use the low of that first 5-minute candle as our risk level. So the low here is going to be $10.39. So the goal here is to look for a breakout above that high, buy into that breakout, place a stop loss underneath the low of that opening range, and ideally let the stock run higher and higher and higher and make a really solid return on that trade. Now, before we get into where exactly I was buying and selling this stock today for this opening range breakout, I want to talk about why this was such a good candidate for that opening range breakout in the first place. And first and foremost, what's important is that we see there is some pre-market momentum. This stock had a nice spike up in pre-market. It was trending higher all the way up into the open. And it was opening up near those pre-market highs. That is already going to be a bullish sign for a gap and go. So then when we pair that with what I was seeing on the daily chart, this was going to be automatically at the top of my watch list for a gap and go and for that opening range breakout setup. So if we take a look at the daily chart, this is exactly what I mean by that. We can see here that over the past month or so, maybe month and a half, this stock has kind of been just trading sideways, chopping around, forming a little bit of support here right around maybe $6.50 or so and some resistance right at about $9. So that is kind of this channel that this stock was trading in for about a month to a month and a half. So because this stock was able to gap up over that channel today, you have to realize that there are a few things that are going to happen with this daily chart breakout. All of the people that have been buying within this past month are now going to be sitting at a profit on their trade, which means that there really isn't going to be any serious urge or desire for them to sell yet. They're going to try to maximize their positions. And on the other side of the spectrum, anyone that might have been short selling in this time frame that's holding on to a short position is going to have a little bit of fear and a little bit of panic now that this stock is gapping up out of this consolidation zone. And they're going to look to cover their position to manage their risk. And that's going to lead to a little bit of a short squeeze when they start to cover, paired with the fact that other people are simply buying into this for a gap and go. All of that demand is simply going to drive the price higher and higher and higher, and this breakout on the daily chart was something that really helped this move today. So I want to mention that here, as this stock was breaking above the opening range breakout level, we do have an opening range breakout bot here in the Market Master group as well. That's actually going to notify us directly here in our chat room when these stocks on our list start to move above their breakout level. So at 9:42 this morning, our opening range breakout bot told us that CRNC moved above its 11.76 breakout level. And a few minutes later, I mentioned that the daily chart setup here is also very bullish since it's gapping up above the long-term consolidation area. And my goal from there was to start scaling into some dips to ride that momentum. So all of that being said, that was kind of my thesis behind this trade and why I was so bullish on this stock in the first place. I then went ahead and bought some shares into this initial opening range breakout. I added a little bit of shares here as it was dipping down here and kind of consolidating right around this 1230 area. We can see there's a few times where it pulls back here, actually for about 20 to 30 minutes or so, where it's really consolidating and holding on to those opening gains really nicely. So I added some shares into that strength, sold some shares here up into these new highs, rebought some shares into this dip, and I knew that if I was going to buy this dip, I would want this to hold above this previous dip area because I want there to be a higher low that forms. So with that being said, I knew that if it was going to break down underneath this 1230 area, which also at that point in time would have been underneath the VWAP, I probably would have looked to have cut some shares and would have, taken some risk off of the table for this trade. But fortunately, it did rebound back from this dip very quickly and very nicely. And I started to scale out some more shares around 15 and scaled out some more around 16. Obviously, this stock in hindsight ended up going all the way up to a high of $19.89. So I shoulda, coulda, woulda just held on to those shares and rode them all the way up to $19 per share. But obviously that's not how things work in the stock market. It's important to take profits as the trade progresses. Don't allow yourself to get too greedy. And all in all, this was a really solid trade. Again, I was able to lock in $2,550 in profits on this trade. And with a few other profitable trades for the day, this ended up being a really solid start to 2025. This was one of my favorite strategies for the past couple of years, and it's going to be one that I utilize just about every single day in 2025 as well. So I hope you found some value from this video and you learned how to maximize these gap and go candidates using the opening range breakout strategy. If you did, please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to see which stocks are at the top of our watch list every single day for these opening range breakouts, as well as work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our detailed trade plans, our live custom scanner streams, and so on and so forth, all of that can be found in the Market Master group. There's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.